Hello, everybody, and welcome to the DEWAnDrew Conspiracy. I am Mr. Andrew, and we have my lovely co-host, Mr. Dew. And as you can see, we are live from the Hackensack Daily Annex.
Daily Annex.
Dale Annex, sorry. And we have Miss Willow with us even. She decided to say hi, at least for now. So, and Joe Torre, is that who that is?
That's Joe Torre, the manager of the last Yankee dynasty.
Yes. So as you can see, I have made the long trek from Colorado down to Atlanta for the retreat I was having down there, and then up to Chattanooga to visit with my sister-in-law, and now we're here in New Jersey. And this is day 2.5, basically, of settling into the world of Mr. Dew, the wacky, wild world of Mr. Dew. And it's been an adventure, to say the least. But we're here.
Well, I just want to thank you, Andrew, for being the first guy and male on the Dialina to actually materialize in THC. And I think it's only appropriate, not only because of our podcast, but also just because I feel that you are the first person who ever said to me, "I like you," and I just feel that basically you're the first male friend I've had in this new journey in Zero AF, and I just really appreciate it, and it's great to have you here.
Yeah, bro. Well, yeah, I appreciate all that. I mean, we're doing something different. This has all been a path, right? We kind of started out where we did with just being virtual and acquaintances at best, and then here we are in the same, conspiring the same air, breathing together in the same space.
And one thing I wanted to just say is you're teaching, what we just said before the show. You're teaching me to be human, and I'm teaching you to live in space.
Yeah, that seems to be one of our quests, for sure. Yes, I've been told I'm a grounded masculine. That seems to be a quality that I possess.
Right.
And you tend to be more lofty and dreaming.
And I'm a moored spaceship, just hovering above Teaneck Hackensack. You haven't seen the Dialina yet, except in this body, but
yeah.
And nobody has,
well, this body just climbed up a big ass hill. Do we need to do some breath work first?
Absolutely. I think we need to get people conspiring.
I think since we're in person, how about an ohm?
Okay.
You guys ever done an ohm? It's pretty simple. I like to do like a ohm, so I almost sink down into it, and then just let the low kind of carry out and feel the vibrations. And you can kind of also play with where your tongue is in your mouth if you like, and that will change like how it kind of vibrates in your skull. There's all kinds of things you can do with ohms. I just learned about really doing ohms at the retreat, so it's kind of a new space for me.
Well, some people say OM, and some people sort of reflect what you just did, which is AUM.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's, I don't know. I haven't done the deep dive on it, but Dijon definitely likes to do that.
Right.
So I kind of took it from him. So anyway, take a deep breath, settle, get any wiggles out, Yeah. And close down the eyes if you can. And then we'll take a deep breath in together.
And let the M linger.
Okay. We were always joking at the retreat we were gonna have an ohm off and see who could do the longest ohm.
Right.
I don't know if that's what our audience wants to see, so we'll keep them short.
We'll just keep them short.
But yeah, it's just fun. I don't know. Sometimes I try to find the resonant frequency with the people I'm around. I don't think we quite got it there, but where you really hear them kind of just bouncing off of each other.
Well, we can try that in this. But what I really think is when you really ohm well, you feel the vibration all through your brain.
Yeah.
That the M really reverberates through your brain. So yeah, let's try to be on the same frequency, Andrew, and so let's do like a couple more ohms, and maybe we'll be on the same frequency.
I usually like to find it in the M because we kind of sit in it a little bit longer.
Right.
But yeah, let's see if we can do it. All right. That was good. Yeah. Felt it there, kind of like.
We were almost there. So, deep breath. I think it's a natural process because if you have two tuning forks of the same resonance, then you hit one and the other one will automatically respond.
Well, isn't that the truth?
I know.
Two tuning forks. Bing!
Bing! So tell us about your journey to Hackensack. I made sure that all open space was prepared for you. I called dialing the control three times the night before you arrived to make sure that you wouldn't run into any unexpected starships that were trying to land, and then you drove into THC. So as a grower, what did you see coming into THC?
Yeah, it was beautiful landscape. I mean, we're in the fall period, and the leaves were mostly turning. Some were falling, kind of in that stage, and so there's lots of fall colors. And I mean, it was quite rural until I got pretty close to New York City area, and yeah, it was a beautiful drive. When I got up early that morning, we were enjoying the sunrise, and it was a whole vibe. And so we roll in and settle in just for a few moments here into the Dale Annex, and then immediately I go to a therapy session with Dale, and so we just dove headfirst into this experience, and I feel like a throwback to the 80s, like we're in a time warp here in Hackensack, like it's wild, y'all, like the world exists as it did 45 years ago when I was born, pretty much here in the universe Mr. Dale has created. And also the palatial estate is as he describes. He has lots of beautiful water and a river flowing through, and there was ducks and geese, and Willow was chasing all the squirrels, every squirrel. So she had lots of things to hunt, and it's a beautiful walk we get to do every morning now.
Yeah, well, that's what I should go and bring up is we started every day with a 2-mile walk through the Palatial State Park, and then it's a bridge across to Fairleigh Dickinson, which is my alma mater, and it has truly turned into like a quality university, and we just like walk through there, and it's like a 2-mile loop, and we've started each morning with that with Willow, and then the big thing yesterday. Well, there were two big things. First off, I played disc golf for the first time. We found a mountainous disc golf course and Ramapo or suffering, I think. But anyway, it was at a Kapka ski lodge. So I guess they just have like a mountainous disc golf course. I take pride in like my history as a frisbee pro, but I'm a complete amateur at disc golf. But it was so much fun, but it was like a treacherous too because it was like all up this mountain, and always slipping back, and rocks, dirt slipping and everything. But it was great fun. But my legs hadn't been that tired. And the second thing we did was we went to Chipotle for the first time for me, and so that was very good. And then I took
Well,
Ian.
two things. The trek up the mountain was real. Like, it was there was a ski slope right next to the course. So you think about that same trajectory. And so you climb up, do the first 9 holes, and then you start working your way down. And yeah, we made it all the way to the top. I was very impressed. I thought we were going to lose Mr. Dew here a couple times, tumbling down the mountain, but we did not. And Willow was enjoying just being a willow dog and on the trail. And the fall colors were beautiful there. It was a very peaceful setting, and so it was nice to enjoy nature and have some fun together.
And we met some very nice fellow frisbee disc players.
Yeah, they were showing us the course, and one of them, even as we pulled up, was like, I was listening to a song about Colorado, and then I see your Colorado plate, so I'm like, yeah, I bet you did. I bet you did. So, yeah, we're in the flow. Things have been arranged for things to flow and be useful, and it's been enjoyable to be in that flow.
Just to clarify, this is no longer the Hackensack Dale Annex as it's been for the last 44 years. This is now the DUCKNEST with the new furniture, and our mission for this week with AnDrew, which I really appreciate, is to really raise the vibration of the Hackensack Dale Annex to the vibration of the DUCKNEST.
Indeed. No, that is the mission. I came here, I was settling in, I didn't know what the mission was, right? Like, obviously it was to, give Dale a big hug, and so we did that immediately, but it was also to experience his world and bring a new perspective to it, and he's been open to some of my perspective, and I appreciate that, and and so yeah, we're raising the vibration, aka cleaning.
Right. Exactly.
But sometimes the cobwebs do tend to build up, and especially in a space that you've been in for so long, you can start to lose sight of its full potential until someone comes in and has a vision for it. And so that's what we're doing, and it felt good yesterday just to get some energy out just through elbow grease, as I call it, as they say, and just scrubbing some stuff. And so we did, and it felt good. It felt like I was bringing some life force to this one little microcosmic speck of reality.
Well, is it not a microscopic speck of reality, this is a macroscopic vista of the universe. But also, I just it's like I told you just before we started. I've 50 years of doctors have been telling me what to do, but nobody ever taught me how to really live my life. So, what I said about you bringing the human and I'm bringing the space, this is a space. This is a dialectic control, but, it's not dialectic control 6 St. John, which is perfectly maintained and everything. This is the commander's suite, so it needs to be cleaned up, and I've just basically been unable to get myself organized to get started to clean it up in the first place, and therefore, to be honest, it has fallen into, I won't say disrepair, but mess. And I just thank you very much for showing me that, and for willing to be able to help me make the mess into something, into a message.
Yeah, correct. Well, I was listening to the Christ consciousness things on part of the way to drive up here, and there was a very clear part where it's like, if the moment rises and God sends you the message that it's time to go sweep the streets, you drop what you're doing, you go sweep the streets, right? And so it's whatever love calls for in any moment. And like I said, I didn't know what it called for when I first got here. I didn't want to rush into anything. But at the same time, we didn't wait too long. And it's part of like showing love for our bodies, the earth, the 3D experience that we're talking about, and really embracing Earth. We're here to be Earthlings and have a good time here on Earth, and part of that means having a clean place to keep the body.
Well, I also wanted to talk about how we immersed you immediately into therapy.
Okay, well, I didn't know how far you wanted to go into that, so you can take the lead there for sure.
Okay, so basically, my therapist is named Mark David Chapman, and I don't know if that rings a bell with anybody, but Mark David Chapman was the name of the person who assassinated John Lennon. So basically, my therapist, has carried the stigma of that name, and but anyway, so
he personally carries the stigma of that name, or you carry it for him?
I carry it for him.
There we go.
But
thank you for clarifying.
But anyway, so he and I have been working together for 6 years. We began in the clinic, and then he went into private practice, and I followed him, and he and I get along great. And one of my prejudices is to think that I'm older than everybody. So one day I asked Mark how old he was, and he said I was born April 11th, 1955. And I was, you mean you're older than me? He got 6 weeks on me, and so basically now I call him the old man. But
those 6 weeks make all the difference.
Yep. And but anyway, so Andrew got here, and I had an appointment, and I couldn't miss the appointment, and so I basically took we went to Mark's office, and I talked with Mark for 2 minutes.
We sit in this waiting room that's straight from the 80s. Like, I'm not, the wood paneling, the old carpet, the fucking analog clock on the wall. I mean, bro, it was straight 84.
And it also has Secrets to Life by Dalai Lama. 15 Secrets to Life by Dalai Lama. Yeah. So, anyway,
I'm like, I walk into this place, I'm like, this is the universe this guy created 100%. Like I'm like, I feel like deja vu with like the Matrix, and how like it feels like they're entering like these old but like familiar places, because that's how they're trying to position it, is right. This is present, but we're trying to mimic something from the past, and it was like that, mimicking this thing from the past, and I'm like, this is 3 hours in, I just got here.
Well, so basically, Mark said, I said I'd like to have the show or the session with Andrew, just because I think it would help him understand me for the podcast. And so basically, Mark just had, did his due diligence and said, are there any topics that are off topic or, that you don't want to discuss? And I said, no, let's just go. So it was, and then after about 35 minutes, I said, so this is like the Dialene and recording DEWAnDrew podcast with Dale's therapist, so, and he got a little freaked out by that.
He was definitely flustered by that. You gotta poke the bear always. I feel like that's part of you. It's like someone needs to feel just a little bit off balance.
Well, that's why they call me feisty in high school.
Yeah, exactly. And whatever, I'm fine with. I like people to feel a little off balance sometimes too. Honestly, I don't know why. It's just part. Well, I don't know why. So. But
so any insights or anything that you want to share that you picked up about me from Mark or?
Mark offered a perspective. I was more just wanting to feel the energy between you all and see what level of connection you two had. And, it's different from our connection, but there was a real connection there. I could tell. He has your interest in his heart. That's what I felt anyway.
Right.
But yeah, he's a little bit more of a contrarian, and I kind of let you just roll with it and then I just say something really dramatic at the end, like that was fucking retarded or whatever,
Right.
And he's just more gentle, right? He's gonna say, well, have you thought about it this way, or and I'm just I don't have time for that.
Right.
We're past gentle. We're just gonna go straight for it, and I think you tend to take me at what it's worth and not try to project extra onto it. And we had a very straightforward conversation earlier today too about the podcast or about some other dealings, and it felt good. I said what was true, you received it, you offered a reflection, and then we moved on. And that's a way to communicate a boundary, right? To me, that's how you communicate boundaries, is just saying what's true. It's defining me, right? What my universe has in it, and what I would like your version of my universe to also have in it, right? Your vision of me includes this part of me, and so that's it can be that matter of fact. It doesn't have to be this whole big drama.
Well, the conversation we had today was very instructive, but also well, it was instructive. It was deeper than that too, but basically. You felt that I had taken. I'm not trying to put words, but you had felt that I wasn't making you a priority, and I felt totally. You were totally justified in that, and I apologize because you have been you've been a rock. You've been like my friend, and you're actually the first person that I've met since 1978 who actually has visited me in Hackensack. So, I met in the last 5
No, I'm here to break you out of solitary, bro. For real. You gotta get out. You have a light to shine, and we know this. Look at your shirt. and like I was saying to you earlier, if I didn't feel that you were having a human connection, that you were interested in having a human experience, then I wouldn't be here. But It's clear to me that you are and do, and so I am. And like I said, it's also two-way street, right? I'm learning from this experience also because it's providing contrast for me. It's offering a picture into how people create universes that are wildly different and yet very much the same in many regards, right? And so and then how to enter a space and feel it, getting more tapped into my intuitive nature, and so not judging it, but also deeply feeling what it is, and then seeing if that was right or not. And so far, it feels like it has been, because what I've communicated to you has been received. It seems like in a really positive way, and then what you've communicated, I've received and experienced like a different angle of you a little bit, because you showed up differently for your therapist than you do for many of our conversations.
Right.
I felt it, and so that's so interesting. Then I got to see, oh shit, like I am creating this reality because you show up differently in my little universe. But when it merged then with a third universe, it looked a little different, and I think it's so fascinating to perceive reality through that lens, and then see how it changes the way you perceive your whole existence.
Well, this is what I talk about, like, about the Fred code, and basically speaking for the last 70 years in code, whether it was national security code, parental code, doctor code, but I spoke code to everybody differently to put together my reality. And what happened when Fred died is that even though I might speak differently to everybody, it's no longer in a different code to everybody.
Mm.
And that's really the liberation, is like being able to communicate generally, so that people, even if they interpret it differently, then I still make the same basic point. Whereas used to be, I had to speak in code and explain everything so that people could best thrive.
Yeah.
And everybody needs their own code, and that's what I feel is no longer necessary, because I feel I can talk to everybody.
Yeah. Good. I think there's something to that. It's almost like I would describe it as like wearing a slightly different mask, or
Right.
For each person, and now we're kind of just consolidating those down into a more unified.
But the thing is that it's not just a mask, because it was a mask for a whole group. It was like a continuing, developing mask for an evolving group of people, of different people. So it went from Dartmouth, say, to Dr. Bonanno, to the hospital, to Fairleigh Dickinson, to basically just like being on my own and being in solitary. And so basically every mask wasn't just like an individual mask, it was like a mask for a collective that I was involved with, that ultimately I outgrew. And with Fred, I outgrew the last restriction on my ability to communicate with people.
Yeah, right. No, as our universes expand, like, we experience new and different things, and then the old things kind of, I don't know, they poof a little.
And every code proofs the previous code.
There you go. Yeah. Well, that's Dale to Dale, isn't it?
Right.
Yeah. So it's this concept of this constant reinvention. We are experiencing a different version of ourselves as often or as rare as we choose to. I mean, that's the whole concept of Dale to Dale existence.
Well, that's really what we were going to talk about today, is this idea of how everyone ultimately is a Dale to Dale, if they can just realize it. I mean, and what I feel, I think I said this to you yesterday, Andrew, is basically I took the time to prove and to manifest and to live experience every man is God. And therefore, having reached the Dialina, which was my goal, which is the completion of my body as God, now I can like explain to everybody how everybody is God without, and this is what we were talking about last night about, you say that you feel there's like an internal contradiction with me because I say there is no judgment of God, but I'm going to judge you. So, wasn't that what you're saying?
Yeah, basically.
So basically, and first I answered, well, I'm a Gemini, and a lot of people might understand that, but Geminis can hold contradictory ideas in harmony within themselves until they resolve it into a synthesis. So basically, what when we were talking about last night about the judgment of God, but I'm judging everybody. I'm not judging. The judgment of God is when you realize that you are guiltless in the eyes of God. That's a judgment of God. It's not the biblical fire and brimstone you're going to burn in hell forever. It's where we often talk about external judgment about it versus internal approval, but basically when your internal approval, your self-love is great enough so that you can feel, no matter when you face God, He'll bless you.
Yeah. Well, that's one way to explain it.
And the idea behind Dale to Dale is that Dale, I learned as Dale that the ultimate self-judgment is being happy and, as you say, being a human experience, but even more, being reconciled to that approval by God within yourself that makes everything joyful.
Right. Yeah. Yes. I agree. Yeah, I've experienced that same kind of line of experience just through the lens of the Christ consciousness things and perceiving everything as a neutral event. I think was like a pretty big like revelation for me because I show up more neutrally now to almost everything I experience in the world.
Right.
And that it's that little bit of distance that it creates, that space allows me to shape my experience. I mean, it's the key story, right? I shared, I think, the key story on the podcast, right? But I found my key in the snow and was so excited. And the whole day I've been preaching about how important it was to stay like in the positive state and it was completely validated. And so it's like I created that moment. That moment was created for me to have an experience.
Right.
And that experience was a reaffirmation that what I believe is true. And so here it is. This is the reality I've created, and I enjoy the shit out of it. And so I'm happy about that. It makes me happy. And it doesn't mean it's always easy, but it means that it can be. Maybe it can be. And being open to that possibility, being open to the idea of ease and that suffering isn't required and I don't have to do actually anything.
Right.
I can just sit here, right? But eventually this body's gonna want to move, right?
Right.
But the Christ consciousness says I need do nothing.
Right.
So it means you're doing things because you desire to do them.
Exactly.
And that's part of having fun, right? Is a desire or not? And if it isn't, then why am I doing it? And sometimes you gotta scrub the toilet, right? And
right.
But you can. My point is, when you're scrubbing the toilet, I can perceive that as an act of self-love.
Right.
And therefore, it is not. It changes how I engage with it.
Well, of course, then that brings up the point about its whole attitude anyway. But whenever we're talking, I get these like brilliant ideas that just like flash through my brain.
Yeah, well, we're gonna work on that too.
Oh, but another thing that we're working on about making me more human is making me less political.
Correct. Well, we go to the therapy session, and that was half of it. This political fight he had with his sister, and it was so dumb and so childish, and so well that's it. Childish. That's how I felt. That's how I felt.
Right.
And we're children. We're all children at heart. Let's not deny that, right? We have these impulses. I hung out with a 2-year-old. He was not that much different from the adults, right? They just are a little more sophisticated about how they express their same experience. But that was, politics, bro. Like, I mean, you know my opinion, but I will say it again for the audience. I played it for you. Lesson 12 of the Way of the Heart. We experience taxation as loss, not because it's real, but because we believe it needs to exist.
Right.
We experience the government not because it's real, but because we believe we need to be subservient to something. That's why it exists. And so it's our collective manifestation that is creating these structures we rail against. But it's because we want something to rail against. You wanted something to fight. And you've wanted something to fight your whole life. And learning to let go of that seems like a challenge or something.
Well,
or you just don't want to, and you want to have an experience of fighting. Well, I mean, that's also valid.
Well, when you felt that your survival and your freedom has been threatened for 30 years by people telling you you're crazy, you sort of learn to fight.
I understand. It's deeply rooted, and I understand. I mean, is that what we're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's fair.
And I think
I'm not saying I don't have any.
You gotta fight too. You said
you're right.
You gotta fight against religion.
Yeah, I do. I do. So you're right. We all have our fights. You're not wrong.
And
here we are to reflect it to one another and decide if we want to keep fighting or not, right?
Well, I don't think we're fighting about politics. I think, but I think it's good to have a fire under your ass about something. And it's with you it's religion, with me it's politics, and to me, and for everybody else it's either one or two, or the family, or money,
maybe
or
this is my opportunity to let it go.
Right.
It's one thought away.
And now you're in the kingdom, and the kingdom is going to take care of you.
Right.
And this is what you've been getting into. This is kingdom shit.
Yes. I wrote that poem that I shared in our last podcast episode, and that's one of the lines, kingdom shit. And whenever I'm experiencing something that feels beautiful, it's basically any time I actually remember to experience gratitude for the things that are available to be grateful for at all times, that's kingdom shit. Because I realize I'm in the kingdom in that moment. And it turns out we can create that moment whenever we desire to create it. We can create it all the time. That's the idea. And so to be in kingdom mode as often as we remember. And to remember is to remember who we are as creators. That's my belief.
And it's my belief that I've turned Teaneck, Hackensack City from the top level security prison of the mucks into a castle and a Disney World type of kingdom that you're the first to experience.
Yeah. Well, there are very beautiful aspects to the kingdom you have created. There's no way around that. Yeah. I think we've seen what we've seen, and it's continuing to unfold. And I don't know how long this experience will last, but it's not over. And so here we are. It might be until I'm satisfied with the cleanliness of your apartment. I think that's ultimately the mission. But that's just a side mission. That's just a side quest. The quest is to have an opportunity to connect, right?
Right.
In 3D, and feel the frequency of each other's voices, and to be able to give each other handshakes and hugs,
and just to talk as real people.
Yeah. For sure. And, apparently I got a fight too, so I'm calling you on the bullshit I perceive. And
But I also want to say, in the last, since you've been here, I've done like 3 things that are totally new to me. And that's so totally contrary to where I've been at for the last 40 years. Because I just if people wanted to go out or something, especially after I quit drinking, it's like, no thanks, I'm not interested. But, getting out and not only walking 2 miles before breakfast, but also with Willow, watching her play with the squirrel, trying to catch squirrels like Snoopy, like Snoopy creeping up on the birds or whatever, and Peanuts, and just watching her. But besides that, the Chipotle, and also the Frisbee golf, which I've always wanted to do and just never had the motivation, and then we had a great chicken or cheesesteak sandwich at late night Hackensack, which is run by my good friend Eddie, it's a hole in the wall restaurant with the best steak and chicken sandwiches in the state, and great pizza too.
This guy, he's a salesman. They were quite good. I can still do better, but
Right.
I always feel that way. But they were quite good, and you're right. And I also wanted to highlight, we ran into a person who had actually watched several episodes of the podcast,
Right.
and outside of Family Dollar, of course, but he had some pretty thought through insights, a valid reflection that felt like he got it. But I think one thing he did feel like he explained is it takes more than one episode. So I think that's something I've realized now too, is if you don't understand some of the arc of how we got here, it does feel like a little disorienting, our
Right.
world is very unique, right? And so it requires some depth to truly understand it. And I appreciate that. And maybe that, I don't know, I think that makes it something you really have to engage with. So if any of you are starting to feel like they're really engaged with it, definitely hit us up in the comments. Let us know. If you just watched one episode and you don't know what the hell you just watched, then also leave a comment.
And we would like more comments. We aren't getting any comments. Not many likes. I'm not going to petition for likes, but comments definitely, and subscriptions will definitely help us. And just think you're going to be on the ground floor of when the dialer really appears and transforms the world.
Indeed. Yeah. Here on Zero AF.
And it's not even 0 AF anymore, just year 0.
Okay. Man, we're really evolving this thing. We're refining it,
And speaking of which, tell me about the calendar you put together.
Well, we showed it in the last episode.
Right.
But yes, AI, Grok specifically, was able to write me some HTML code that allowed me to us to open the calendar in a web browser and see what date it is in year 0, and so that was fun to play with. It's the most I've played with AI thus far, but I found it very useful, right? it was cool. In seconds, I had a website that would show me what I wanted to see, what I wanted to create, right? Because
Right.
part of having this calendar is actually like using it, right? And so we were like, well, we gotta know what AD time it is and what zero time it is, day it is, and we're converting. And now we've actually moved our schedule of our podcast to align with the zero calendar. So we're gonna be recording on build and weekend, right? No, the day before.
we're recording on build and weekend, which is the fourth, which is the third and the seventh day. No, the sixth day. The second.
Third and seventh.
Second and the sixth day.
Third, it's hump.
Right.
Build it third and seventh, and then we're releasing on the fourth and eighth.
Right.
And so, which kind of made it, easier to track, and also really live into this reality, being able to create reality. I think that's the point, is like, because if you just create some like little tweak off the next person, you don't really notice it. But when you create something dramatically different, I think your reality can shift in a more dramatic way. And we're talking about time, how we account for it. And that feels like a pretty, chunky part of reality. And it's out of balance. We've discussed this before. The Gregorian calendar makes no sense. And so here we are. We're like playing around. And so being able to bring that in so easily, with so much ease, just a few prompts, and all of a sudden I have this thing. Like, yeah, it's scary how powerful these tools are.
Yeah, but so we're going full steam ahead on year zero, and what Andrew just said about, if you're lost after one episode, then you can either stay lost, or you can like become curious and try to see where we're going with this.
I think the prescription is 5 episodes. I think if you don't like it after 5, then it probably isn't your thing. And after 5, you're getting curious, you're starting to feel it a little bit, then come with us on our journey. But that's the minute. You gotta get to 5. Otherwise, you just don't have it. It's not. You haven't got enough of the puzzle yet to fully comprehend.
Right. And we aren't saying that to be superior.
No. We just understand it's kind of. It's a unique. We're bringing very unique perspectives to a table that I wouldn't have comprehended a short time ago. It would have made no sense to me 5 years ago.
So, just to give you an idea of what we're actually talking about, when in my many hospitalizations, I can't tell you how many patients who were mental, who knows what the nurses and the doctors were thinking, but basically, it would take like after 5 or 6 days of being constantly exposed to me in the hospital, people would say either, I'm getting scared, I'm starting to understand this guy, or they would just say, I'm starting to understand this guy. But I remember one time, it was an emergency. It was an urgency. Dr. Bonanno and the whole program thought I had gone like deep psychotic. So they didn't have a room in 6 St. John's, so they put me in Inglewood Hospital for like 3 days until something opened at 6 St. John. But I'll never forget the first night. I was admitted, and and immediately they took me to the mental unit and put me in a locked room with the mattress. So basically, I was in that room for probably like 8 hours, and like this one nurse. This one nurse like looked in, and I just like yelled at her. this is like when I was psychotic, so basically I wasn't. But I was yelling. I yelled at the boys, and so like nobody else came for another 3 hours. But long story short, I get out and I'm back on the unit, and everybody's getting used to me and everything. And I find out that this one guy, Brian, had hid under his bed the whole night because he thought I was going to like kill everybody on the unit. and then when the doctor finally arrived after like 6 hours, his first words, my first words to him were, "Are we deal to deal yet?" And he said, "All tongues on deck."
What did he mean by that?
Who knows?
Okay. I don't think was this a story about how people do understand you, or a story about how they do not?
It's a story about how it takes a while to understand me.
Yeah. Yes. So good. We have a story. And you could choose to keep that story, or you could not. You could also not.
Well, I also wanted to bring up what our friend said in front of Family Dollar about, freedom.
Mm.
He said, he thought we should talk about freedom and we discussed it, and we do talk about freedom. We just call it sovereignty. And freedom sovereignty is the freedom to be yourself and to let your inner self shine. And so, to me, freedom. Eric Frankel, I think. I'm not going to. The guy who was in the concentration camp and basically like wrote the book Man's Search for Meaning. He basically said, he was in the concentration camp. They killed his wife. They took all the gold out of his teeth. And basically, he wrote a manuscript that they discovered, and they basically burned page by page in front of him. And he decided when that happened, he said, they're never going to be able to take my soul. And that's really what it comes down to is the only person who can take your soul isn't the devil, it's you.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I think freedom is something that's resourced internally, and that's the problem with it, is it's perceived as something you resource externally by having police and government and military and war. That's how we have freedom. But my mom literally said, freedom isn't free. You have to fight for it. And so I'm like, well, maybe it's not. Maybe it is free, and we have decided that it's not because we want to fight things, and maybe that's. I guess I'm really riding this like rail of what is the human experience, and if all experience is valid, then why do I care what other people's experience is?
Right.
And so if someone wants to have the experience of fighting this or that, then okay, maybe it's about me allowing for that. And I think that's where I'm shifting to now, is like more allowance for all experience to be valid, and that gives me permission to not like try force my version of it onto people, or try sell them something they don't want to buy,
Right.
And so it's been valuable. Because I thought I was past this save the world mentality, but it seems to be rearing its head.
Well, if I could make a slight distinction that I think, in terms of what we talk about, will be very enlightening for a lot of people. What we call presently freedom is freedom. Control, honoring and worshiping the warlord, the god of war, who was Fred, who after endless eternities I turned into this guy named Fred. So basically, the warlord is dead, death is gone, but we have to translate and transmute from this idea of Fred, F-R-E-D-O-M, back to the idea of freedom, which is two E's. And I think that nobody, including myself, realized the power and the influence of Fredum until Fred actually died and the veil was ripped away.
Yeah. Well, Will's cleaning herself.
Right.
We appreciate that. Well, yeah. So that's a story, and it's a beautiful story that shares an experience of a shift in perception, and I have also had a similar experience.
Well, my point is basically, since no one since the 1920s has really been free.
I know you keep saying that, and maybe it's true. I don't know. I don't actually know. Am I the only free human in the world? There's surely others.
No, but well, what I mean is, no one has really understood the concept of freedom because it's been suppressed, and that doesn't mean there aren't free people who instinctively know what freedom is, but just the collective view of freedom is freedom.
Sure, that seems to be true. Yes. And so I guess it's this idea of like, what is the dance with the collective and the internal dream? You know, how do they merge? How do they flow together? Is there a responsibility that we have because we're feeding into this collective dream to dream differently once we have this awareness? It's like, so it's quite the rabbit hole.
It is.
But at this point, I think it's mostly just about enjoying our experience here on Earth. I think it's about extending love to people and things and experiences.
And joining the fun party.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. Enjoying the fun party. And we're having fun and we're enjoying our experience together. And so I think we're accomplishing our mission pretty effectively. And then there's the details along the way, right? How you want to do it. But like that's what I feel like the essence of it is.
And I'd just like to say something about fun. I remember that when I worked on a ranch in Colorado for a summer, and it was like basically dysfunction. You're like troubled kids put on a ranch to help this guy who got paid to put all his hay in the barns for the winter, so he got all his work done, getting paid $800 a kid, and there were like 20 kids. So he made off like a bandit, but it was a very good experience and everything. But
I love how you dive into this guy's like personal finances before you can acknowledge, yeah, it was actually a pretty good experience, but he was making too much money. It's like,
no, it's not that he made too much money. I mean, first off, my sister did it for 3 years, and she loved it every year, and it was a fabulous experience. I'm just saying that, he had quite a little.
I know, but who gives a shit?
But anyway,
it's an energy exchange. So if he was exchanging value, then he's entitled to receive value.
But the point I'm getting.
But yeah, you got free labor. I mean, I get it. That's a brilliant hack. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he's smart.
So, but the point I'm getting is at one point, one of the girls who was like, she was sort of like an outlier or an outcast. She was sort of like weird. Well, whatever. She was sort of like an outcast, but she said, she was talking to her mom, I guess, and she said, I'm really having fun. And I heard that, and I sort of like, fun. What the fuck is that? you know, and it was like a very negative reaction to the word fun.
Sure.
And I think that's really what we're fighting. What we're actually fighting is beyond Fred. There is nothing but fun, because there's the fear and the worries and the anxieties of death and everything that goes into the what people say is the human experience is actually the slave experience, and it's time we start living the human experience.
Okay. Yeah, I support that. I mean, that's the reel I made about religion and Satan is pretty in line with that. We're worshiping God, but I don't believe God requires our worship. I believe he just wants to love us. That's
And he
why I
wants
believe.
us to have fun.
Correct. And so can we conspire that is true? Can we make that the conspiracy? God just loves you and wants you to have an experience here on earth, and part of that experience, that part of what makes a human experience like more enjoyable is love and connection to the experience. I think that's the whole point. And so if we're not loving it, then what are we even? That's sin. If we're not enjoying our experience, if we're not feeling like this is something we are here to do on purpose, then we're missing the point. And I think that's what sin is just to miss the point of what it is.
I think we're talking about the secret is gratitude to God and appreciation of other humans.
Yeah. Indeed.
So I think we're at time. So let me. We'll get. We don't want to leave without our do poem for the week. But I hope everybody enjoyed this episode. And just remember, this is an episode, and it's not a. It's not a number or anything. It's an episode. So
yeah, we're all having an episode.
We're all having an episode, and the more you attend, the more you're going to have more
psychotic bliss,
incurable psychotic bliss episodes. So
exactly.
This goes an enlightened Saturday night rumination. My miracles are out of sight, never done in the public light, rather on moon eclipse nights, when I can turn very erotic, doing 50 years as a lunatic, doctors just said was psychotic. And truly I've been quite mad, many saws insane, not sad, walking into hands of the bad, all of whom died, though I survive, ready at last to really thrive as spirits of old come alive. Not the deceased who are long gone, but those who have learned of the Holy One, who now serve God their earth work done. It's too late now to surf or drown, since dewy death is at last down, condemning all those who have a frown. So don't frown, because dewy death will get you.
I'm smiling, bro. All right, we did it. High five. Episode live from what are we calling this?
Episode live from the DUCKNEST.
From the DUCKNEST. Willow.
The Hackensack Annex, then the Bachelor's pad, and now the DUCKNEST.
Yeah. So we did it. We're here. We're doing this. It's exciting, but we love you guys. Glad you joined us for this episode.
Subscribe and comment and let us know. What we're bringing up for you, because we have no idea. And we'd be very curious if whatever reactions people want to have, and if they're negative, that's fine too. But hopefully, just comment and let us know where to go from here, because we're having a great time, and even if you don't comment, we're going to keep doing this. So
Indeed.
have a great one, and subscribe. And Andrew, thank you very much for the visit, and otherwise, take care, everybody.